Well, welcome to today's webinar, Make Your Church Website Stand Out with Church360 Unite. My name is Andrew Osborne. Let me get my contact information up here. I'm a creative content specialist at Concordia Technology Solutions. You have my email address and my phone number there. I love talking with churches about how they can use technology in their ministries, so contact me anytime you'd like to discuss how our software can assist you in doing that. Concordia Technology is the is the church administration division of Concordia Publishing House. Concordia Publishing House is the publishing arm of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, and it has a lot of rich history. We've been around for close to 147 years. This picture is from the 1904 World Fair, in which CPH won some different awards and things like that. So we've got a lot of really cool history. But we have a lot of cool things happening now and a lot of cool things that will be happening in the future. We've been developing software for churches since around 1984, and we keep digging deeper and deeper into that. We have a lot of great product offerings right now, and we have quite a bit more in the works as well. So it's an exciting time in the world of software at CPH. This picture right here is of the Innovation Center here at Concordia Publishing House, and that's where we do a lot of our product brainstorming conversations. So before we get started, I have a few housekeeping items. The presentation will be about 60 minutes, and then we'll have about 30 minutes for questions and answers at the end. And I know your time is valuable, so you don't have to stick around for the questions and answers, but I want to be able to answer any questions that you may have as they come up throughout this presentation. The recording will be shared, so if you do need to leave for any time during the presentation, it will be shared on our YouTube channel, so you can always find it there, or you can share that link with anyone in your church who would be interested in seeing this presentation as well. And you can ask questions throughout the presentation. There's a place on your webinar thing there that you can send in questions. I won't be answering the questions as we go. I'll wait until the end to answer them. That way we can make sure we hit everything we need to. But I want to make sure you get all of your questions answered. So make sure you put them in there, and I'll try and get to them all afterwards. And if for some reason I can't answer your question or I have to look up the answer, I'll send you those answers later on in email. So Church360 Unite is a component of our Church360 software suite, which is our complete church management software. Church360 Unite is the church website builder, but we also have Church360 Members, which helps you manage member information. And there's a lot of intersections between Unite and Members. And then we also have Church360 Ledger, which helps you manage your church finances. And there's not quite as many intersections between Ledger and Unite, but they're all part of the same suite and can be used independently of each other as well as together. Church360 Unite, as I said, is our church website builder. It's our complete church management solution, and there's different aspects and tools for each for your church's online presence. There's the website portion of it. There's blogs and feeds. There's member hubs where they can log in and gain information. You can do file sharing. There's your master calendar, and you can do mass emails. And it's called Unite because it really unites the different tools so that you can do all of this from one place. Some things you need to know about Church360 Unite is it's able to be accessed anywhere. It's all online so that wherever you are, you can get to all of this information. All of our themes are mobile responsive, so whatever device you're using, whether it's a desktop computer or a tablet or even an iPhone or whatever smartphone you have, the themes will respond to that device. And it's securely hosted and backed up here at CPH. And that's all managed on our end. Your data is backed up nightly and saved for 30 days, which means if you make multiple changes in one day, it may not be all saved. Whatever you have at the end of the day is what we will save here. But that's helpful because if for some reason you accidentally deleted a page or something like that, we could pull up the saved updates on our end and restore that for you. So if you ever accidentally delete something, we can always restore it. And you get free updates, support, and training with Church360 Unite. I know this may sound a little bit like a sales pitch, but I just wanted to go over the key features. I know we do have some customers watching, but this can be sort of more training for you, just to let you know what's available with your package. I have a few assumptions as I'm starting this presentation. First, one of my assumptions is that you're familiar with church websites and the concepts of what to include and what not to. We could do a whole webinar on that topic, but for today we're just going to be talking about this tool. My second assumption is that you're new to Church360 Unite, so if I assume that some of you have never used it, and I assume that others, if you've used it before, don't have that much experience with it and are trying to learn a little bit more. So if you have used it before, you may get some tips and tricks that will help you brush up your skills a little bit with Church360 Unite. I also assume that you're interested in delegating tasks. Most churches, while a lot of them don't have 1 million people on staff, they do have a lot of volunteers that are able to handle some of these things with church websites, and there will be some tips along the way of how to delegate some of those tasks. I have a few goals of this webinar as well. My first goal is to explore all areas of the software. This is a complete overview, so I want to touch on everything so that you can see what can be done, but I won't be able to touch everything. My second goal is to help you understand the key features. Like I said, I can't hit on everything because there's a lot, but I want to get to all of the overall concepts so that you know basically what it can do without going into the nitty-gritty. My third goal is to help you answer this question: how can Church360 Unite help me communicate about upcoming events? And I'm going to do that through helping you to see how you can create a website that kind of lays out exactly what you need and do it in a way that matches your church branding, or how to make your website look good as well. So there are different roles with your church website. We're going to go through some of those roles. The first role is the administrator role. And that's different depending on each church. Some churches have a full-time church office worker who might be the administrator of the website, such as a secretary or an office manager or a website administrator, or even a pastor. So it depends on your specific church. I know some churches may even have a layperson doing this. So it really varies from church to church. But we're going to talk about the administrator in terms of settings and users. So this will be the first thing you would want to set up, getting your settings up and ready to go. And you could delegate this, but it's probably best for whoever's in charge of the website to do. And I assume since you're here, that would probably be you. The second role is the designer role. It sounds like it could be a bit beyond a volunteer, but it's really not that detailed if you don't want it to be. Most churches won't have a full-time web designer or graphic designer, but most churches do have someone who's got an eye for design, who loves art, like an art teacher, or someone who just enjoys painting or things like that. And we'll talk about the designer in terms of themes and pages. Third, we have the publicity role, and this might be a full-time church worker, but it's usually a volunteer, someone who's maybe in marketing or good at promoting things. You may also, could be done by a secretary as well. And we'll talk about the publicity role in terms of feeds and lists. Next, we have some volunteer roles, such as the board chairperson. This is almost always a volunteer, and we're going to look at that person. They're going to talk about groups. So we're going to get into what groups do and how a board chairperson might use that. Excuse me. We'll also talk about ministry leaders. They'll also use groups, but for now we're going to look at the events and the master church calendar through the eyes of a ministry leader. And then lastly, we have our lay members. These are people that are not actively involved in leadership, but they are active and engaged within the congregation. And there are people that can view the directory and update profiles and things like that. So that's a roadmap for today. So we'll get started now. Let me switch over to my website here, and we'll get into all this. So the first thing that we'll talk about is our settings. And like I said, when you first log in as the administrator, these are the things you want to get up and going right away. So I'm logged in right now, and you know I'm logged in because we have this bar up here at the top. If you're logged out, this doesn't appear. So up here you see settings. We'll click on that. And this first page, the account page, gives you a list of some just basic account information, things like your church name, email, phone, address, and time zone. And all of this information will flow to the footer of every page. So you'll see down here, all of that information appears. And that comes from right in here at this area. So whatever you type in here will show up on your pages down here at the bottom. Next, under the settings, we have calendars. And there's a variety of calendars within your church website. And we'll talk more in detail about these later, but this is where you would create a calendar, and you can label them different colors and things like that. But like I said, we'll get more into that later. You have your domain here, and by default you have a subdomain that's a name.360unite.com. For this is our training webinar website, so ours is trainingwebinars.360unite.com. You can change your domain name if you wanted it to be just trainingwebinars.com. You could do that, although I assume that's not available. But like if your church was St. John's Lutheran Church, when it first starts out, it would be stjohnslutheranchurch.360unite.com, but you could change your domain to just stjohnslutheranchurch.com. And you can do that by talking with our support team, and they can walk you through those steps. And we also have some instructions up here on how to do all that. Next, we have Google Analytics. You'll notice that we don't have a built-in analytics in Church360 Unite, and that's because Google provides this amazing tool. And it's kind of the standard in the industry. There's other fancier tools out there, but they're much more expensive, and they're usually not really worth it for churches. So we have some instructions up here on how to use the analytics from Google. And finally, we have integration. And this is for Shepherd staff or Church360 members users. Sorry, let me click on that. And this just helps you to integrate the other tools that we offer. It pulls in member information and adds additional value to your Church360 Unite website. We won't go into too much detail on that today, but if you would like some help integrating your sites, you can call our support team, and I'll give you their number later on at the end. Or you can look it up on our website if you need to as well. So next we're going to talk about users. There's a variety of different types of users. You'll click up here to see those different types. And depending on the plan you have with Church360 Unite, you'll have a limited number of administrators. These are people that can access everything. Regardless of the plan, however, you can have unlimited numbers of users. So users are just all of these people. You can give them a role and create different types of users. And we'll go through some of those different roles here in a minute. So you'll see we have an entire database here, and most of these aren't users. You'll see they have none here under role. And that's because this is just a fictional database that we use for training purposes. But for now, let's look at roles, and we can sort them by clicking up here at the top. You'll see we have some administrators and some designers. And you can click it again to go to the bottom, and you see we have more users and a publisher. So you can add different people to this list pretty easily. You can do that by clicking down here at the Add People button. So if you have a new member at your church and you want to add them into your database, you would click Add People. You could type in their first, last name, and email. Or if you had a list of multiple people you wanted to add in, you could download the CSV template, type in a whole list of names into an Excel document, and then import it back in here, and it'll throw them all in there at once. So it's kind of like a batch add. Let me take a look here. So like I said, we have different user types, and it's easy to change people's roles. So if you wanted to get rid of, if you made someone an administrator, but you didn't want to keep them an administrator forever, they were just helping you set it up and then maybe they moved away or something like that. To change them off of this role, you would just click on their name and the box next to their name and then hit change role. And now you can change them to any of these different roles. So like I said, we have the administrator role. These are people that can manage everything. They can manage the themes and settings. So they have access to these different roles up here. But you could also change them to a designer. And a designer is someone who maybe helps you design the theme of the website and the way it looks and things like that. So they might be someone you also want to set up right away, because that's one of the first things you'll want to do when you're setting up your website is set the look of the website. So a designer can help you do that, and they have access to different content and the themes. So they can go to this one, but they don't have access to the settings tab here. So they can't see all of this information, and that's so they can't change anything in here that you don't want them to change. Go back to users. If you had someone like a communications coordinator, someone you just wanted to manage content and maybe send out some mass emails and things like that, you would probably want to set them up as an administrator rather than just a publisher, because they're going to be using the mailing feature, which general users and designers can't access. That's right here, the mailing list. So you would have to set that person up as a administrator to be able to access that. Let me take a look. Oops, sorry, I gotta select a name. Publishers are people that can edit and change content within your website. So they can create posts and things like that, but they can't change the look of the website, and they can't access things like the settings or the mailing lists. They also can't add people in. So if you want to add people in, you have to be an administrator. You can change multiple people at once. So if I clicked on these 4 people and I wanted to make them all users, I could click on their names and then hit user and hit update. You'll see I get this little thing here though, and that's because a few of them don't have email addresses. So you'd have to put their email addresses in here, and then it'll send an email to them asking them to be users. But we won't do that for now. Let me do that. So it's pretty easy to change people around and create different users within your website and set people up so they have different roles within your website and can access different things, and some of them you can keep from accessing things you don't need them to. So now we're going to, before we talk about design, we're going to jump into activity so I can talk a little bit about that. Under activity, you see we have comments, event log, and email log, excuse me. Under comments, these are related to blogs and feeds, and we'll look a little more at that later. But whenever you get comments on your blogs, they'll pop up here so that you can approve them or delete them down here. Next, we have the event log. And the event log tracks all the things that happen on your site. A lot of these things are things we've done in previous webinars, so that's why there's so many of them right now. But these are all the changes that happen on your website, so you can go back and track them later. And then we have the email log. And this tracks any of the emails that you've delivered from your site. So the activity tab here allows you to do just that, track the activity of your website. So now we'll talk about the designer phase a little. You need to stay logged in as an administrator or a designer to access this. But we'll go under here to themes, and this is where you set up the look of your website. So now right now we have 12 different themes. We just added 2 more, the material theme and the wonderful cross theme. So we have some pretty cool, unique themes. And these themes allow you to have a different looking site while keeping the functionality the same across all of these themes. So some of the major differences between them all is just the way they look and maybe like where the navigation is. So for instance, on material, you'll see the menu bar goes across the top here, whereas on vertical, it goes down the side. So to change a theme, you would just click on the one you want. I like this orange one here, so I'll click on that and click Apply Theme. So now when you exit out of theme, that's what you'll see. I'll show you a different one real quick. We could change it to light. I like this one down here. So we'll apply that theme. You can exit out, and now that one will appear. So it's easy to jump between different themes and see how you can make your website look a little different and spruce it up for different parts of the year. And you can change your theme at any time at no additional cost. I know there's some website builders out there that charge you every time you want to change your theme and make it look a little different, but we know that a lot of churches need to change the theme of their website based on the time of the year, for instance. So we keep that a possibility and try to do what's most convenient for our customers because we know that sometimes you need a different look or feel depending on what's happening in your congregation. There's some different tools for professional designers if they know how to use code and HTML and things like that. A lot of this goes over the heads of a lot of church workers. Even I don't know all that much with it, but you can go to the Advanced tab here, and you can add in custom headers and scripts, or you could go to Edit down here, and you can clone the theme, and you'll see that this one can't be, you can't edit this theme right now because it's owned by Church360 Unite, but if you clone the theme, it'll make a copy of it and save the original so that you can edit the copy. Now there are some drawbacks to editing your theme, and that's you won't get the updates as they occur. So if you clone the theme and mess with it, we won't be able to go in and give it the updates that we come out with. So for instance, last year we came up with the mobile responsiveness to make your website fit the screen on any device. And if people had custom themes, it didn't do that automatically. We had to go back and help them figure out how to switch it over. But if you use one of our default themes, you won't have to worry about that. We also have this Styles tab here, and this is a new feature that we've added. Styles keeps your site from having a different look for each ministry. So you can create somewhere around 75 different styles. I'll show you how to do that here in a minute, but the benefit of using styles is it keeps consistency across your website, and this is one of the best ways to keep your website looking beautiful is to keep it consistent. If you go to a business and they have on the front of their store they have 10 different fonts and 10 different colors that don't go well together, you don't feel like they're as professional as maybe a store that has some good two fonts that go well together and a good color scheme. And now I know churches aren't businesses, but we want to make sure that our website reflects the beauty of our Creator. So we try to keep our websites looking good to keep people engaged with them and learning more and more about the gospel. So one way to easily do that is to keep things consistent. If you did need to add in a different color or font style, you could go down here to Add Style, and I'll click on that. You'll see there's two types. There's block and there's inline. Block means it's like this one right here where you can make it a heading. So I'll make this one a heading real quick. I'll make it bold. I'll make it a little bigger. Let's go up to this one. Maybe a little larger than that even. We'll try that. You can change the color of it. So we'll say I wanted like a teal blue, or maybe even maybe lighter than that. Oop, too light. We'll go with a blue. So now you can see it stands out a little more. You can add some room on the top or bottom. I'll do that a little. So now you can see that there's a little space above it. And that's just to create like a section header. So I'll save that one. Oops, I gotta name it. We'll just call it blue. Name is too short. Oh, no, there it worked. Okay, so now you'll see I have this additional style here. Excuse me. So I can add this style to my different web pages that I'm using. And I'll show you how to add those into web pages when we get to that. But that's how you would create a header. Now, if you wanted additional normal text, you could add another style and create an inline text style. So you could select the the font family. If you wanted to use one that was a sans serif font, you could use Cabin. And these are all fonts that we got from Google Fonts, and there's hundreds of Google fonts that you can use, and they make sure that your fonts are web friendly. You can make them normal or italicized. We'll stick with normal. You can change the size again. I'll leave that how it is, and I'll just call it Cabin and save it. So now you'll see I have two different normal fonts. I have Cabin and normal, and these can be used for the text on my pages. And I'll show you again how to use those later on. And lastly, we have the Customize tab here. And this is something that anyone can use. And within each theme, there's a number of different presets to allow you to change the look and feel while keeping the structure the same. So you can see some of the options here. There's browse for the background. On this one, you can change the background image. You can also change the background color if you don't have an image. You can change the banner, and that's what this is up here, is the banner. I could change that to, we have a logo here. I could put that in. So now you'll see it's that rather than just the white text. You can change the accent color, and that's to, when you highlight over things, that'll change to that color. You can change the default fonts for your website. So I'll save those changes. And now you'll see that our logo is in there, and any text that we have will show up as orange. So I think that's kind of the basics for setting up your theme. So now we'll go over to edit mode. Again, you have to be logged in as an administrator to see these different things, or a designer can also do this, or let's see, I think it's designer, publisher, I'm sorry, let me go under users. Designer, publisher, and administrator, yeah, excuse me, are people that can see this little edit page tab over here. So when you're logged in as one of those three, you would click on this, and this is how you would add content to your pages. You can change the layout of the page. You can have one big cell that you add things to. You could create two columns that are the same size. You could do two columns where one's bigger than the other. I like this option here, the last option, where there's a large column at the top and then three small columns underneath it. So now I'll show you how to add some content to these columns now that we have our layout the way we want it to. So I would click over here, and I can do things like just add text, like welcome. And below that, I can add a picture in if I wanted to. And I have some saved in here for this presentation. So if I had a header image for a Bible study I was going to do, I could add that in. The way you do that is you click on the image button, and you click on the image you would like, or you upload an image here and hit OK. So now that that's in there, it fills that whole column there. You can add more in down here. And there's lots of things you can add up here. There's you can add links in, you can add images, sound, video. We give you lots of different things you can use. So let me add 3 more images down here just to kind of make this page look nice. So I'll add our day school image in. I'll add the get involved image. And I'll add the give online image. So you can see how easy it is to throw together a good looking web page. And by the way, these were designed in a website called Canva. I'll show you that real quick. This is a really good tool for churches who don't have a designer, someone who knows the details of digital design. This kind of gives you all these different templates that you can use to create a design for your website, so that it gives you combinations of things like background images with font combinations and things like that. So it's a really good tool for churches to be able to create beautiful looking images and things like that. So that's canva.com, CANVA.com. And it's a free site. A lot of the different images are free. Some of them cost a little bit, but It's usually only like $1. Yeah, see, like $1 for these. And there's different text images or images you can use. So that's canva.com. So now back to this. If you wanted to change the look and style up here, this is where those styles come in handy. If I didn't want this to be the brown header 1, I could change it to a green one, for instance. And these are the styles I had. So I could click on that, and it drops in that green there. Excuse me. If I wanted to use that blue I created, I would just go down and click on that, and now you can see the blue. If I wanted to add some information down here, more information, I could change the look of that as well. I could highlight it and then click Styles, and then I could, oops, dropped it. I could change it from normal to cabin, so it has that other font that I created. So it's easy to switch new fonts in and out and give it different looks. If you didn't have one, but you wanted it to be, maybe if you wanted this to be green, but you wanted to stay this size, you could click on this paintbrush up here, and that will take you back to your styles page, and you can add in a new style. You can make it the cabin, and then you could change the color to a green, and you could select the exact green, but I'm just going to throw one in there and hit save. Oops, cabin green. And hit save. And now you have it down there. So I could exit out. Oops, I didn't save that, but it should pop back. Oh, it didn't. I forgot to mention, you do need to save every time you leave your pages. So let me throw these back in real fast. I'll just do the first one. We don't have to go all back through and do those again. So let me add more information. So now I can highlight that, and I can use that new style that I created to make it the green. So it's easy to add new styles in, but again, you don't want to add too many in, otherwise your site will start looking a little jumbled and hard to read if there's too many different styles. Plus, the more styles you use, the slower your website will go. You'll see under styles, you'll see there's this font load, and you can see that mine's gone up quite a bit because I've added these new ones in. So the more font styles you add in, the longer it takes for your site to load. So it's good to keep your site kind of basic and consistent. And again, I forgot to save that. There it is. Okay, so now that you have that in there, you'll see up here it says you have unsaved changes. So I would want to make sure I hit the save button down here, and that will save those changes that I made into our web page. There's some other settings over here under Edit Page. You'll see that there's the status. You can set it from published to draft. If you're working on it and you don't want the page to be live and public so anyone can see it, you could set it to draft. You can change the URL. So if I wanted the URL to, right now it's trainingwebinars.360unite.com/home because that's what that's set to. But if I wanted to change that, I could do that there. You could change the title of the page and the meta description. Excuse me. And those are more for the Google Analytics and things like that. Having good meta descriptions and page titles will help to allow Google to know what your page is and will promote it more. So if you want your page to show up on Google, it's good to have good information in there. So we'll save that, and we can close it. Oh, there's one other thing I wanted to show you. You can change the look of these through styles, but there's also some other settings in here. Down here at the bottom, you can make it bold or italicized from here. And this is a lot of the same settings you would have in Microsoft Word. So it's an easy way to change the look of it without having to go back in and change the style every time. If there's just basic things you want to do, like make it bold, it's easy to do right from there. And by the way, this is our WYSIWYG editor. WYSIWYG stands for what you see is what you get. Excuse me. So when you're changing things in here, what you see happening is what will stay. Let's see. I think that's the basics for editing a page and making it look the way you want it to. There's lots of ways to use these tools in here. Maybe actually I'll show you. You can add links to your images. So if you threw an image in here, but you wanted it, when people click on it, to send them to a specific page, you could click on it and hit the link button here. That's what this is. It'll pull this up, and you can add a URL if you know the URL, or you could add it, add link to a page on my feed or in my site. And so now I could change it to, let's see, do I have a Bible study? Yeah, I have a Mark Bible Study blog. So I could link to that, and now I'll save it. And if someone comes to the website and clicks on that, I got to exit out of that, and it'll take them to this Mark Bible Study blog. So it's an easy way to set up links on your pages to send people to the pages you want them to go to. So next, let's talk about pages a little bit. Most churches have more than just the home page here. So let's look up here. We have our menu up here. You'll see when I hover over these, it drops down some different pages that we have. This site has lots of different pages. And to change all of this, you would click up here on the Pages tab. And when you do that, you see your list of active menu items and your list of available menu items. The available menu items are ones that don't show up right now because we don't have them in our layout here. So this is the menu layout. If you look in here, you'll see the home, the about us, the worship times, the news, and that's the same. It lines up with these: about us, worship times, news. So under pages, you can change the order that you want to see all these in by just clicking and dragging them. You can add new ones in, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. But you also have some tools down at the bottom. So if I want to edit my What We Believe page, I could publish it so that anyone can get to it. I could make it a draft so that people aren't able to see it while I'm working on it. I could delete it. I could set it to public so that anyone who comes to our website can see it, or I could set it to private so that only the people who are logged into our website can see it. And that's useful for things like if you have a page about, let's see, like a group within your church that you want them to just be able to, only the group members to see it, you could set it to private, and then random people wouldn't be able to just show up and find all that information. It would be just people that have login information to your website. For instance, if you have an acolyte schedule on your website, you could set that to private, and that will help protect the youth's names and things like that while allowing them to access that information still. We have a few page types. To create a page, you would click on this little button up here where it says Add a Page. And then you'll see we have these types. And these are different templates that we have for you. We have the feed page, we have group pages, and then we have kind of these basic page layouts. And these just kind of get you started with what your pages should look like. So first let's talk about feed pages. And we have a few of them out here already, so I'm not going to create a new one right now. But if you wanted to, you would just, well, actually I will. I'll create one. So you would click on that, hit Create Page. And let's see, do I have, we'll just call this New Bible Study. So feed pages are basically like blogs or announcement pages. So now that I've typed it in there, I can click out of it and I can drag it over and we'll put it under News. So now when you save your changes and you exit out, under News, we should have New Bible Study. So I can click on that page and you'll see there's no posts in there yet, and that's because I just created it. Also under Pages, you can create these categories, and that's what these are up here with the three little pages here. These are more like placeholders than pages. So on older websites, you used to be able to create actual pages for category holders, so that when you would click on this About Us tab, it would open an actual page. But now that most people, or a lot of people, view websites from their mobile phones, you can't hover over things like this. When you click on it, it drops down the drawer on mobile devices. So that's what a lot of websites have changed to, and that's the way these ones work. This isn't an actual page, it's just a folder for the rest of these pages. So to create these folders or categories, we go to Pages and then click Add Category. And that will drop a new category down here. So you can create a new one. We'll just say New Category. And you can drag different groups down into that category and rearrange your site that way. So I'll save that and exit out. And now you'll see we have the new category and Rally Day is under it. Let's see, you can, so for feed pages, we've created, where was it? Under News, we created New Bible Study, and that's the page we're on right now, sorry. To edit your feeds, or to add new content to them, you would click the Edit Page tab over here. And so now you can see it changed all of this, so you can change the name of the post, the title. You can add in any information you want down here. And there's also some other information over on the side here. You could change the URL again, or the feed title, or the meta description. And again, those have to do with Google and how your page will show up on Google. You can change how many posts you want to show up on your feed page. And you can click this button to make your content show up or disappear. So for instance, let me just add, we'll just let it be new post, and we'll say this is a new post. And we can create that, and we'll see it pops down here. So now if you wanted to show this information from your normal page, you would leave that checked. But if you wanted it to just show the title and not the actual content, you could click the Show Post Content. So now when we save and exit out, you'll see that it's just the title and the information is gone. So I'll click back in here and click Show again. You can also allow comments, so people can comment on your different posts. You can click this button to moderate comments. And there's different reasons to use and not to use moderate comments. If your feed is a feed that you want to be public so that anyone can comment on it, you would probably want to click moderate comments. That way, if there's someone who doesn't attend your church but stumbles upon your feed, you can make sure that they agree with what you're saying, or at least agree not to use vulgar language and things like that. So you would have to approve any comment that pops up. Now, if this is just a feed that's for your congregation and you set it up as a private page, you could leave that unchecked, and then the members of your congregation can post without having to have those comments approved every time. So again, these are very similar to your normal pages. To add in content, you do all the same kind of things. You have your WYSIWYG editor up here. You could add pictures in. You can add links in. All the same kind of stuff that you would do on a web page. But then these blog posts can be shared and sent to different feeds. And so now that we have a post in here, we can go up to Activity. And if someone was to comment on that post, the comment would appear here, and you can approve or delete that comment. So let me go back and I'll add a comment to it. Oops, clicked too far. Let me go back to that. New Bible Study. All right, let's try that again. So I'll just say this is a comment, and I can post it. So now that comment pops up there because I don't have moderate on, so it just pops up automatically, and someone can reply to it. It can be deleted or edited. But now if you go under Activity, oh, I forgot. This only shows ones that need to be moderated. So let me change that real quick so you can see what it would look like. Oops. Oh, I'm on the wrong page, so that's why. New Bible study. And we'll just set the page to moderate comments. Click Save. And I'll add a new comment, another comment. And I'll post it. It'll say your comment has been submitted, and that's because it needs to be approved first. So now we'll go up to Activity, and you'll see the post appears there. So I can click on it and see what it says, and I can check the box and say approve or delete. So this one's fine, so I'll approve it. And now if you refresh the page, it'll appear there. So it's easy to kind of monitor your comments and make sure nothing vulgar is being added or things that go against what your church stands for. So we also have, there's a lot of different ways you can use feeds. You can use them as sermon feeds. You can set up a blog. You can use it for announcements or prayer requests. And the ways you use feeds varies from church to church, and it depends on how they will best serve your needs. To view all of your different posts, you can go up to this Posts tab up here, and you can see all of the different posts that you've added in. If you needed to change one to a different feed, you could click on it, and you could change the feed. So if I accidentally posted it to Pastor's blog, I could change it back to announcements, for instance. And now it'll appear on the announcements feed. You can also see who the author is, what the status is. You can see what feed it's on, and you can see when it was published. You can make it a draft, so you can edit it and things like that. You could delete it, or you could change the feed. So now that we've talked about posts, let's look at mailing lists. We talked a little bit about it earlier, but to access the mailing list, you have to be logged in as an administrator. And that's because you wouldn't want just anyone to be able to access this feature, because unfortunately it could be abused. So we assume that if you're responsible enough to be the administrator, you're probably responsible enough to access the mailing lists. So we'll click on mailing lists, and you'll see that I have one created in there already, but let me delete that one out over here. So everyone's Church360 Unite account starts with an everyone mailing list. And if you wanted to mail everyone in your church, you could click on that and hit email. And you'll see that it pops up your default email client. Mine is Microsoft Outlook, and it pops in there the everyone name, and you could add an email in there. So now if I click on this, you'll see it has all of these weird numbers, and that's the way that we send the emails from Concordia Publishing House, and that's called a GUID, and it stands for Globally Unique Identifier, and it sends individual emails to each person on your list. In this case, it's all members. So first this email would be sent to our server, then redistributed to the people on your list. And it keeps your emails from looking like spam. And it's similar to other clients like MailChimp or things like that. But ours is integrated within our software for free. So that's a benefit of it. To create a mailing list, let me exit out of this. You would type in a name here, so I'll just call one Bible Study. And you can create mailing lists. So now if I click on it, I can select what recipients I want. So I could click people and just add their names in there. You can also go to the bottom, and you'll see that you have these, for normal people, there's just a one person next to it, the icon. If you go down to the bottom, you'll see that there's multiple people, and these are groups. So if I wanted to add in our Bible study group, I could click that, and it adds all of the people in that group to this email. You can add multiple if you want. So if I had normal Bible study and I had Romans Bible study, I could add them in also. You can also add other mailing lists into mailing lists. So I'll save this one, and I'll create another mailing list called Bible Study plus more. And I can click on that and then scroll to the bottom, and I have Bible study as a mailing list. So I can click on that list and add that whole list into this one. And then I can add some more people in if I needed to. So you can create different lists for different reasons. If you wanted to send an email to just the people in the Bible study, you could click this one. If you wanted to send an email to all the people in the Bible study, plus a few more, you could click on this one and send an email. So it's an easy way to set up lists of people without having to type their names in every time. And the way to delete these is to click on this button over here and hit delete. So I'll do that real quick. And you can add in as many as you need to. So now let's talk about groups a little bit, because we're running out of time, and I want to make sure I hit these. So under pages, you'll see that we have under add a new page, there's this group template. So I can click on that and create a page. I'll just call it new group. Oops. Why is that? We'll save the changes. I'm not sure why it's not working. Let me refresh real quick. Go back to pages. There it is, new group, and I can drag that under, I'll just put it under About Us so I can find it. And click Save Changes. And so now when you go to About Us, you see New Group. Now click on that, and you'll see it takes you to the group page, and there's lots of different tabs over here on the side that you can go to. Groups are a way for the different ministries within your church to communicate with each other and to share information and do different things like that. So to edit your group, you would go to the tab Edit This Group. So if I clicked on that, you'll see it comes up with all of this different information. I could give the group a new title. I could add a description in. You can create new pages within your title. You can have up to 3. So if I wanted a notes page, I could add in notes and click Add Page. And now I would select it, and it adds it right over there. If I wanted to get rid of that, I could just click the box next to it, and it will disappear. But I'll add it in there so that we have that extra one there. And down here, you can set what pages are available to what people. So if you wanted your home group, the home page to be available to anyone, you could set it to public. So now anyone in the world can come to this page and see the home group, or the home page for your group. If you want to have a discussion page where the members of this group can talk with each other, but other people who aren't members of this group can't see it, you could set it to members only. So I'll click on that. If you have it on Unite users, anyone who has a login to your website would be able to see it. But if you want to take it a step further, so only the people in this group can see it, you will click on this one. You could do the same with events. Set it for any of those. We'll leave it on public so anyone in the world can see what events this group is doing. That way maybe they'll ask to be added to that group. And you can set up your members page so that only Unite users can see it. So anyone who goes to your church that has a Unite login would be able to log in and see who's in this group. And you can set who can join this group as well. You can set it to people who you personally invite, or you can allow people to access this group just by being logged in. So I'll update our group and keep those settings. If you click on the new group up here, this is our home page here. Discussion, as we talked about earlier, is just a way for people to share information with each other. They could talk about the previous Bible study they went to and have discussions on that. They could share prayer requests or announcements, and people can comment on those posts. So I'll just add comment and hit post, and you'll see that people can reply to that. And you can create a discussion board here for your group. We'll skip that one for now. I'll go down to notes. And under notes you see it's blank, but if you click the edit page tab, it shows you your WYSIWYG editor. And you can add in anything you want here. if you had a document that shares notes for a Bible study or a PDF, you can create a download here. So you could say download notes. So now when you highlight it, you would click on the link up here, and you drop this down, and you can say a file that users can download. So if you have a PDF file that you want them to be able to access, you could click that, and you would upload the PDF here. I don't have one ready right now, but you would just locate the PDF and hit OK. Okay. And then this highlighted text right here would then be a link that people could go to and click on, and it would download those notes. I'll hit cancel for now. Next we have this members area here, and you can see who's a member of this group. And as the administrator of the group, you can add more people. You can look up their name and add that member. So that just pops them in. Or you could invite people. So I could say, hey, Stacy, you should be part of this group, and then send an invitation to her. So then it shows she is invited. If I wanted Robin to be in charge of the group, I could click on her and hit change role and promote to leader. And I could then take Luke and demote him by clicking that and hitting change role. I'm not going to do that right now, though. You can also email all of the members of the group by selecting who you want to email and hit email selected, or you could hit email all, and that will send something to all of them. You can also see who is requested to join this group by clicking on the Requests tab. You can add a summary of your group here if you need to. And we also have membership settings, and these just allow you to change what notifications you get. So you can have people that don't want many notifications, or you can have people that want to receive all of the notifications, or you can leave the group from here. And lastly, in groups, we have the Events tab. And this shows you your calendar events, and all of the events that are added to this page backflow onto your church's main calendar, which we'll talk about in a minute here. Well, we can talk about this now, actually. So on your main calendar, these are all of the events that happen within your church. And you'll remember under settings, you can see how you add those calendars in. So if you wanted a new calendar, you would type in new calendar and hit create calendar. And then it'll pop in there. You can change the color of it. We'll set it to a teal. And now if I go back, should be, oh, let me refresh this. It's good to refresh so that things are up to speed. If I go down, you should see, I don't think that's the right one. For some reason it didn't add in there. Maybe I forgot to save it, I think. But you get all of these different calendars, and you can sort them in different ways. Right now I have it in the month view, so you can see everything that's happening this month. But if you want to see what's just happening this week, and this is a handy feature for pastors, because they may not remember all the time what meetings they have or what to go to next. So they can set up their week calendar so they see, oh, I have that on Sunday morning, I have that on Monday morning, and all of those different things to go to. You can set up what calendars you want to see personally. So if you only want to see Bible studies, you can click on that tab, and you'll only see Bible studies. If you also want to see when people's baptisms were, you can click on that. You can see everyone's baptisms. So it's a good way to organize your schedule and see what's going on in your church. And I know we're just about out of time, but I also wanted to show you, skip down here, your membership directory. And this is a tool for church workers as well as lay people. So once you're logged in, you'll see you get this members area down here. So if I click on that, it shows me my full directory. And this syncs with your directory on Church360 members as well as Shepherd staff. So when you change information in here, it will backflow to those websites, or to those programs, excuse me. So under members, you can see we have all these different people. So if I clicked on a name, a household name, it'll show me all of the people that are in that household and their information. It shows me their address. You can edit that household and change all of this information, change who's in this household or what order they're in. I'll update that. You can select a certain person like Sally. You can see her information, and you can see what group she's in, which right now she's not in groups. You can see her recent activity. You can edit her profile. You could change the email address, you could change the phone number, all of that different stuff. And this is handy for church secretaries in particular, because in the past, a lot of times when members would want to change their information, or they moved and wanted to change their address at the church, they would have to call in and the secretary would have to change all of this. But now church members can log in and change all of this information on their own. That way their contact information is always up to date and people are able to reach them. I think that's basically everything I had planned for today. We could dig into a lot more because there's a lot more that Church360 Unite can do, but I want to make sure we have time for questions and answers. So if there's anything that came up that you have a question about, feel free to ask those questions now. And while I'm waiting for questions, I wanted to make sure you know that you can start a free 30-day trial at 360unite.com. So we have a few questions coming in. Let me take a look. So the first question is, if someone is listed as only a user, what does that mean? Are they just a church member? Yes. So if you're listed as just a user, that means you can log into the website, but you can't access any of this up here. So let me actually, I think I can log out and log in as a user. Oops. So I'll log out up here. You won't be able to do this from yours. This is just a tool we have here at CPH, but I'll log in as a user. And so now you'll see I can't access any of the tools at the top, but I can see all of the information here. So I can see what Bible studies are going on, different things like that. Great question. Let me see, we have another question. Another question is, can you delete font styles? Yes, let me log back in as an administrator. I can show you how to do that. So you would go to themes, and you have your styles. And if I wanted to delete this blue style, I would click on it and then just click delete. And then it'll be gone. So it's easy to add and delete styles. I'm going to delete this one also just so it doesn't slow everything down. And this one. And so now you'll see that our font load is back down to almost nothing. That's because those other ones take up a bit of speed. Good question. Another question is, how can you view the calendar website as a visitor, not as an administrator? So let's take a look here. If I logged out, and I won't log in as anyone, so we look like a visitor. I'm just a normal person viewing. If you go to the calendar tab here, it should still pop up so that you can see all of the events that are happening at the church. There can be different calendar events that only people who are logged in see. And let me see if I can show you how to create those. I'll log back in as administrator, go to settings and calendars. And you'll see that there's certain ones that are visible to only users. There's some that are available to anyone, and there's some that are disabled. And these different symbols over here show that this is a calendar coming from a group. So I can only edit this from the group. I can't edit that over here. And that's why it's disabled in this area. Baptisms are locked because they're things that require they're required in Church360 members and can't be changed here. You can set them to who can view them by clicking on them. So if I wanted everyone to see the altar guild, I would click everyone. But if I only wanted users to see it, I could click users and hit save. And that will make it so only people who are logged in can see what's happening on that calendar. Good question. While I'm waiting for more questions, if you have them, again, you can start a free trial and try out the software and see if it works for you by going to 360unite.com. Look at 30 days to give it a shot and see how it works for your church. Again, here's my contact information. If you have any questions about the software that come up later, or just things that you can't think of right now, but later on you're thinking about it and want to know something, you can send me an email or give me a call, and I can try to answer those questions for you. You can also contact our software sales team, and they can answer your questions. Again, here's the 30-day trial. You can go to 360unite.com and get 30 days to try it out. Any other questions? I'll just give you a minute or two to think of some. Again, here's our information. If you think of a question later on, send me an email or give me a call and I can try and answer that question for you. Or if you have any other questions, you can contact our software sales team. They're extremely knowledgeable about the software and can walk you through all of the different tools that we have. Or if you'd like to talk to them about the other software we offer, they'd be more than happy to talk to you about it. Well, if we don't have any other questions, I guess we can end a little early. Again, if you think of any questions, send me an email or give me a call, or talk to our software sales team. If you'd like to try out the software, go to 360unite.com. Well, I appreciate you being here. I hope I was able to answer any questions you might have and show you how Church360 Unite can take some tasks off your to-do list and help you set up a beautiful looking church website. Again, if you have any other questions, feel free to contact me. But other than that, I hope you have a great day. Thanks so much for coming.